Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing? It's Kenshin, and today we're going to talk about a couple things. Maybe some shit, maybe some not, but we're going to talk about them anyways. A few weeks ago, I went to a very good concert. It was downtown Mohawk Place. It was Inertia, Optic Oppression, As Summer Dies, Super Killer Robots, Motograter, and American Head Charge. This was a fun little show, but to me, it definitely divided the line between what makes a good band and crowd and a not so good band and crowd. And we're going to talk about those things because I feel like they're becoming more and more apparent in the metal and rock genres these days. Now, the three bands we're going to talk about specifically are As Summer Dies, well, actually four bands, excuse me. As Summer Dies, Super Killer Robots, Motograter, and American Head Charge. Now the first three fall into one category, and the last, American Head Charge, falls into its own. Now I don't know about you, but I think when a band interacts with the crowd, that makes them quite memorable. It makes them stick in your mind because it made the performance feel unique. Any band can get up on a stage and do their thing. Any band can walk around, do their thing. But if a band chooses to interact with you, even at the very least, asking you how you're doing, making a few jokes in between songs, even if it's pre-canned stuff, you'll probably remember that a little bit more. You'll definitely remember it if it's something unique that they're only able to do where they are right there, given what's going on. Like if someone yells something out and they respond, or they ask someone a question, direct question in the audience, or whatever they do. If a band interacts with the crowd, you're going to remember that more because even if it's a mass-produced interaction, they took the time to, talk to you. And that I find quite memorable. Now, As Summer Dies, they're a local Buffalo punk, gothic, emo kind of band, metal. They cover a couple genres. They started off total like Hot Topic emo, but they grew up, and I really like that. Their lead singer, Adam Vane, is a hell of a fun guy. I've seen them open for Rings of Saturn and Mushroomhead, and here they were opening for American Head Charge. And he is so much fun. The whole band is, but Adam really steals the show because he is not content with just being on the stage. He will walk off the stage, go and shake everyone else's hand in the crowd. Keep in mind, while he's actually performing, and he'll go around and he'll run around and say hi to people. He'll give them a hug. He'll, when I saw him at Rings of Saturn, he got up, walked around the perimeter of all the booths in the restaurant where it was at. He ate some fries off of a guy's plate. He sat down and kept on singing, shook his hand or whatever. And silly stuff like that. He has this mic stand that enables him to like climb up to the ceiling, and he'll climb up on top of speakers and stuff. He'll jump into the crowd and stage dive, crowd surf kind of thing. All just in fun, When I saw Rings of Saturn at the Forum, there were a couple stages there. He literally walked off the stage and got on another one, performed on that one all by himself. He got the crowd going, and there was like a push-up contest. People were holding each other up in chairs and stuff. It was really silly. We were doing a ring around the rosy thing and a dance-up. It was so silly, and it was so much fun because the guy kept on performing while he was doing everything and just acting like it was a part of what he did. They're memorable. They're a fun live performance. They even got a thing of like lights and lasers they bring with them in their box. It's a light box with the band's name on and stuff, and it's really cool. You can tell they just love what they do and they have fun. They've been a band for around 10 years now almost, and you can tell it shows. They know what they're doing and they have a lot of fun with it. And I love that. How could you not? Because there's energy, there is entertainment, and there's that physical crowd interaction. The same also went for Super Killer Robots. The guy on stage, he was just crazy doing stuff, acting silly. He had like tape and stuff out. He was putting it all over himself. There was this awesome crowd interaction where, the crowd had designated responses during the songs whenever he would point out at them. Yeah, sure, it's silly, but whatever it was thing. And they had a giant Super Killer Robot, which was a dude on massive platforms in this robot costume. He had like a sword in one hand and like, an axe in the other and laser eyes. Yeah, it's a gimmick, but it was awesome. It was super cool. It was super killer, if you really want to say it that way, But it was great. And then Motograter. they were fantastic. You know, they come out there wearing this tribal paint, you know, all black and white and red and stuff, and they have, you know, their giant metal drum style instruments where they bang on that. Sounds like some, you know, old Slipknot kind of stuff. They have the Motograter, which is basically just like a junk-made bass guitar full of different metal pieces and parts and all sorts of crazy shit, and it's awesome. And they were all about interacting with the crowd. They got close up in your face. They were moving all over the stage. You know, you just couldn't stop them. And Legion was all about, you know, getting close to people and grabbing them and touching them and, you know, handing off the mic and stuff. It was fantastic. Even like with Mushroom Head, when I saw them, they were fun because they had the water drums and they could tell if people were loving it. They would do and they would splash water out specifically and like point someone out. God, they were so much fun. And when they dumped the rest of the water out, you know, they did a whole fanfare thing of it and dumped it all over us. Even if they do that everywhere else, you know, they do that. They interact with the crowd and go that extra mile, and I really like that. And so you had all this crazy fun with As Summer Dies, Motograter, and Super Killer Robots. Then American Head Charge comes out. And I've heard rumors, and now I see they're true, that the kind of show you'll get from American Head Charge depends on the kind of mood Cameron is in. If he's feeling it, if he's feeling good, they're primo, good crowd interaction, lots of fun. But if he's not, then you're going to think he hates himself and doesn't want to be there. Which one is the real one? Who knows? But I was sorely disappointed with it. I had been waiting more than maybe 7 or 8 years to hear Loyalty and Just So You Know live. And I got to hear both of them. They played both songs, which made me really happy. And while that was good, I was really disappointed because Cameron didn't seem to give a single fuck about it. He just stood there the whole time, you know, during Loyalty. It's just a reason to deny all the limits that border. You know, he wasn't looking at us. It's like he was looking down constantly so you couldn't even see. He didn't get into it at all. Yeah, he screamed and stuff. Even though in Loyalty he like dropped half the lyrics. Like, you know, he would just not say them, which was really weird. And you honestly, there was not a single, hey, what's up, Buffalo? What the fuck is going on, Buffalo? Thanks for coming out, Buffalo. Hey, we're American Head Charge. None of that. Man, even when I saw Bane, and Bane's a bunch of assholes, Jesus Christ, at least they interacted with the crowd, even though they were saying stupid shit about bands being older than 30 years, being shitty and needing to stop making music. Go fuck yourself, Bane. But at least they talked to us, interacted with us. American Head Charge was just like, you could have put any other band up there, and it would have been the same. In fact, I feel like the reason American Head Charge had broken up in the past was because Cameron's just such a little bitch. I don't know, but that's just what I think. But anyways, they were utterly forgettable. Yeah, sure, the performance, like on the musical side, it sounded good, and the vocals weren't terrible either. But their stage presence was little to none. I feel like the guy was stoned and drunk and strung out and didn't want to even be there. And it kind of ruined it. Not kind of, it really did ruin it. Because what's the point of going there and seeing that if you're going to get a half-assed performance and a half-assed job? Especially, and it's not because the other bands were better than them that made them look bad. Maybe it just made them look worse. But they could have easily given enough effort to be memorable. As Summer Dies and Motograter and Super Killer Robots went the extra mile. Now, not everyone has to go and be as crazy as they do. Really, you don't. They went above and beyond, and that was awesome. But you don't have to. So long as you make the audience feel like they're getting a unique, from-your-heart performance, you'll be memorable. American Head Charge is one of the few bands that I could say I didn't feel like it was unique or from the heart. I just felt like they didn't care. They didn't want to be there. And to me, that's missing out on a core component of things. People are paying money to come and see you. And if they're doing that, you should be giving them everything you have. And you should be giving them the best performance you can every time. Now, granted, of course, every performance isn't going to be amazing and incredible and the best. It can't be. That's just not possible. But at the same time, you should be giving the best that you can. Even if it's not the best, as it were, you should be doing the best that you can possibly give to everyone. Everyone who sees you at every show you go to deserves the same treatment as the last show. The guys in Cincinnati deserve the same treatment as you gave the guys in Chicago and Detroit and Buffalo and Cleveland. They all deserve that same amount of effort and love. Even if it doesn't mean you're doing crazy stuff like As Summer Dies or Motograter or Super Killer Robots. You don't have to be that crazy. You just got to provide a good performance and make the audience feel special, because they're taking time out of their days and their lives to come and see you. They're paying money to watch you do your thing. And you're obligated to show them a good time, because if you don't, well, I mean, you still got their money, but it's really shitty of you because they're going to feel like they got ripped off. Now, granted, there's the other half to this. The audience is also responsible for helping a band show a good time. Because if a band like As Summer Dies or Motograter gives everything they have and really is putting energy out there, and the audience is just standing around like a bunch of limp fish, like, what the fuck is the point? Part of the playing live is engaging the audience, watching how they react, watching them experience what you're doing, watching them feel the power of the performance, watching them love it, hearing them cheer, hearing them yell, you know, watching them get excited, maybe if you're lucky get a mosh pit going, watching them headbang. And if you're giving your heart and soul and the audience, well, isn't giving you jack shit, I can understand why it's kind of hard to want to do that. But with American Head Charge, the audience was given everything. There was a couple of us right up there who knew every word to every song and were just given. And they were just like, just so you know. And all it was something. No, it was nothing. And that is indeed another thing that I think, though, does need to be addressed in terms of audience to band interaction. When a band is up there playing for you, yeah, sure, they'll play to an empty house, but if there's people there, you are also sort of obligated by paying money to at least have some fun. Because if you're just paying money, let's say a show's 20 bucks, if you're paying 20 bucks just to stand there and watch music happen in front of you and it just hits you like, then you wasted your own money. You're not really obligated to do anything, but if you're not having fun in some way, if you're not headbanging up front, if you're not moshing, if you're not grooving out, if you're not cheering or having a good time, you know, any of these essentials of crowd participation or singing along, if you're not doing anything, then why are you there? If you're not even showing the band the most remote bit of support and enjoyment, then you're wasting your money. You know, if you go, you're getting as much as you put into it to a degree. Obviously, some of it does depend on how good the band is and what their performance is like. But also, a band could have an amazing performance, but if you're not putting anything into it, you're not going to get as much out of it. Whereas if a band is putting it out there, loving it, just kicking ass and chewing bubblegum, and you're not doing a goddamn thing, then you're not going to get much out of it yourself. Other people will, but you won't. And you're only going to have as good a time as you allow yourself to, providing the band is giving a good time, unlike American Head Charge. So, and also, that also goes on the notion of people who don't stay for entire shows or who don't show up for the whole show. Obviously, I understand some people have lives and they have to be home at a certain time. Sometimes, you know, they have other obligations. Sometimes their job lets out a certain time, they can't do it. But let's say you have a totally free schedule and you can show up for the entire show, be there all the way, and your favorite band is at the end or in the middle or at the beginning, and you only come for them. It doesn't matter who you're coming for. You're still paying $20. So why not pay 20 bucks, get there early, enjoy the time while you're there, and see every single band and get a full night of entertainment versus just showing up for one or two bands and then leaving. Because whether you stay for the whole show or you're catching one or two sets, me and you still paid the same amount of money. I'm just getting more enjoyment out of it because I'm staying for the whole thing. And people are doing this more and more because they're like, fuck locals, man. Who the fuck cares? Locals suck. I just want to see the headliner. And as someone who is a big supporter of locals, that really pisses me off, to be fully honest with you. Because locals, this is our lifeblood, man. And as Buffalo, we have some fantastic locals. A lot of places their locals are real snoozers. But in Buffalo, we have some kick-ass locals in all the scenes. You know, as much as I might dislike metalcore and post-hardcore, we have some good locals there. But we got some killer local death metal, some killer local black metal and goth stuff. We have some great progressive. We have some really good locals here. And to just be like, oh, fuck locals, they don't matter, I'm coming for the headliner. You're only screwing yourself. Yeah, okay, the locals, you're not going to see them. And they're going to not get that revenue, I guess. But really, you're still paying the same amount of money as I did to see them, except I'm getting a full show and you're only getting a couple bands. But hey, you know what? If that's all it means to you, then fine. If you just want to pay 20 bucks just to see one band, then go right ahead. But me, I'm going to stay for the whole show and get all the entertainment out of it. You're paying that same amount of money whether you stay for the whole show or not. So if the responsibility falls on both the bands and the crowd to give as much as they can. I went to a local punk show a few weeks back. It was the Barksdales, Old Ghosts, 737, and Dead Lounge. And they gave it everything they had on stage. They were kicking ass, rocking and stuff. And the whole crowd just stood there with their beers like, yeah, nice, woo, yeah. There was no one up near the stage headbanging. There was not a mosh pit. No one was throwing down. Of course, that made the responsibility fall on me and a couple of my buddies to start stuff. Because I know some of you are watching like, Kenshin, if this bothers you so much, why don't you do something about it? Well, motherfuckers, I do. I do go in there and try and start stuff. Usually it doesn't last. But I do it anyways because the bands want validation. If they're just standing there, the crowd's just standing there playing and watching the band play, the band's going to feel the fact that the crowd isn't feeling it, and they're not going to want to give as much as they could, and I can understand that. Granted, if the band's giving everything and the crowd's still just standing there, then really the crowd just sucks. But if the band isn't giving anything and the crowd's, yeah, rocking out, and, you know, the band's just not working off of that, then the band sucks. But oftentimes, American Head Charge aside, where they just give you jack shit, the responsibility does fall on both ends. Because the crowd should be showing the band the love and support. Because just being there isn't enough. You gotta really show somehow, something, that you're enjoying what they do. You know, you gotta have an opinion, whether you love it or hate it. Just don't stand there and be like, alright, like I can't wait to go home. Then why the fuck did you come here then, right? You gotta give something. It's half and half. The band's interacting with the crowd, making yourself memorable. That's how you do it. See, when I perform, because I do, I have a harsh feedback noise / danger music project I perform, I am very, very physical about it. I destroy stuff during it, and it's out right in front of the crowd. I do pull people into the show. Granted, I've talked with them beforehand, but I have a spectacle in front of the crowd. They see things, and possibly have things hit them as things are flying everywhere. And sometimes when I'm in the middle of it, I will get right close up in their face, you know, and get them. You know, I'm not going to touch them or anything unless I've talked prior. But I'll get right up in there. It depends, because obviously, like, some people like performance art. It's fun, like my buddy Muff who does it. His stuff is silly and fun, so it's alright if he's pushing people and stuff. But for me, people are scared when I'm up there performing, and I don't want to, you know, really, really scare them. But maybe. But I get up close in there, and I make you remember me and what I do. I mean, you know, it's not often that you're going to see a motherfucker smash stereo boxes and a television on stage and also choke someone and force them to do it with them. Granted, it was rehearsed, but still, how often are you going to see that? That's why I want to bring something unique. And that's something that I think falls on all bands they should do. Try and be unique, and I know they do, but some bands just kind of, they're like, hey, we're generic band number 5. Thanks for coming out, Buffalo. You know, it's like, okay, even if you're generic band number 5, you can make yourself memorable by doing different things. And oftentimes they don't. And just as well, the crowd, you gotta give something. Both sides have to give. The band needs to give and make itself memorable and interact with the crowd. Make them feel special for coming out and paying money to go see you. Not everyone needs to be as crazy as Summer Dies or Motograter or Super Killer does. But you gotta do something, because if you make the crowd feel like it's just a cookie-cut show, they're gonna feel that. Just as well, crowd, if you're feeling like that's a cookie-cut show up there, then you're not under any obligation necessarily. But if the band is up there playing their heart out for you, and you're not giving them anything, then what's the point of you even coming? You gotta give them energy, because you'll notice if you give them energy, they're gonna get really good. But granted, if a band's not giving you anything and they're like American Head Charge and they don't, and you're giving them all you can, then it's not your fault. It's theirs, and they suck. But things here fall on both sides. I'm noticing more and more less people are doing this. There's less headbanging, less moshing, less just overall crowd participation, which sucks because crowd participation is key to a good live show. Yeah, you can hear that same music on the album and just listen to it in your own room. But there's a difference when you're seeing it live because you get to interact with the band, you get to interact with others, and feel the music physically live around you and have fun with it. And the band gets to perform it. They love nothing more than to see people having fun because that makes them play even better and have a greater time. And if neither side's doing it, then what's the point? You gotta think about this and really put that out there and put that into future performances, both on the crowd and band side. Something to think about, because I'm noticing it dying, unfortunately, more and more in the punk and metal scene. We can't allow that. Gotta keep it alive, motherfuckers! That's what I gotta say for right now. So keep that in mind when you go to a show, whether you perform, whether you just watch. Give it all you have, and maybe we can reignite some of what's been lost in these scenes. I believe in you guys. My name is Kenshin, I'm peacing the fuck out. See you guys later.